Vikings bring in USC wide receiver Jordan Addison for a top 30 visit. Welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus. We just caught Onebar doing something very, very perverted over there. I'm not sure what happened, but Minnesota Vikings, the top 30 visit list continues to grow and expand. Latest one is wide receiver Jordan Addison from USC.
Yes, we're talking Jordan Addison. Before we get that, remember, hit that sub button. Let's get 10,000 subs. Also, hit out that interview with Walter Football today, and it was a dandy. He did good. He brought his A game, so check that video out as well. But let's talk Jordan Addison now. Let's do it. We've talked about him a ton.
Yeah, let's talk about Jordan Addison. So here's the thing. I think before we talk about Jordan Addison as a prospect, this is one that really seems to be picking up steam. The wide receiver position at 23. Seems like as we get closer and closer to the draft here, we're in April now. It seems like wide receiver to the Vikings is really becoming, I would almost say, the favorite position that they select.
Yeah, and again, we've said it multiple times in these videos, is we get comments where people are just like, no receiver, no way, we're not doing it, we're not doing it, we're not doing it. Look at the top 30 visits we brought in. Quentin Johnson and Jordan Addison. Those are the top biggest names that we brought in, both wide receivers. So, like I said, we've said it before, buckle up because it could very well happen. We did bring in Emmanuel Forbes, who's a cornerback, but other than that, they still got some guys to bring in, but wide receiver, they want one. They want one bad.
And with Quentin Johnson and him, they're one of the few early round guys that they've actually brought in these top 30 visits. A lot of these guys they're bringing in are like these late undrafted guys who are going to come off the board at best round 6, round 7, maybe even undrafted. So the fact they're bringing in a closer look at two guys who definitely could go in the first round and right around pick 23 is very, very telling. So let's talk Jordan Addison himself. You got something you want to say?
I was just going to say, on the flip side of that, I mean, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but there are some teams right behind us that need wide receivers. And you know what? While we could be just taking a look, see what we got, there could be a little tomfoolery, a little mind games going on here. Maybe the Giants are like, holy shit, we need to trade up in front of the Vikings, whatever. But Kwesi's a smart guy.
And that's some second-level chess right there he's playing, if that is the case. So let's talk about Jordan Addison. I think about Jordan Addison, I think smooth. This guy is a smooth, fluid mover. You can do a lot of stuff with him. He was a former Pitt member of Pittsburgh there. He had a huge year. Look at his 21 year. He had 100 receptions, almost 1,600 yards receiving. He had 17 freaking touchdowns.
He got Kenny Pickett drafted in the first round.
Absolutely did. There's a lot you can do with him. You can, put him almost in the backfield, roll him out there. You can line up outside. He's got good hands. He's a little bit slower at the combine than people were thinking. That kind of maybe hurt his draft stock. He was kind of considered to be one of the first receivers off the board. Still could be, but I think he maybe is like the third off the board at this point.
Yeah, when it comes to receivers, I couldn't even guess. They're just all over the place. And really every year receivers, it seems to just go kind of the way you don't really expect it to. So he's going to be in those top 4 wide receivers. And the Vikings, I mean, I did a video on it earlier as far as guys that really don't want it 23. And I did say Addison was one of them. Mm-hmm. More just, I think, value-wise. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love Addison at 23. I'd be all for it. But I just think there's maybe some better players. And more so just that I know we could get a receiver in like round 3.
Yeah, I mean, it depends who's on the board, obviously. If Elijah Cansey's there and we go with the Jordan Addison, that's going to be tough to swallow. But, I mean, if it comes to him and Deontay Banks, Jordan Addison all day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Addison, he's a great route runner. That's what I love. I love it. I love the fact that he's a very good route runner. You get these wide receivers like, oh, he's got one route in his tree. Yep. He's sloppy. They need to fix that. He's ready. I mean, he's ready to come out. Whoever gets him, his rookie year, he's going to put up some numbers. And the thought of him opposite Justin Jefferson gets my pants real tight.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 great route runners there. And KJ Osborne's a good route runner as well. And you look at Quentin Johnson's kind of his knock, not exactly a deep tree when it comes to route running. Same thing with the Jalen Hyatt, who's probably a later first-round guy. He's pretty much just a burner straight line dude. So Vikings like the route runners. And I think Walter made up a good point today. Check out that vid if you haven't yet. But he said, Vikings are one Justin Jefferson injury away from having KJ Osborne as a wide receiver 1.
Well, yeah, and then you have like Jalen Reagor as wide receiver too. It's a bigger need than we think. Everybody just kind of pushes it off because we got one of the best in the league, but we have nothing behind him.
It's bare. It's quite bare.
But ass naked. But Addison can return punts as well. He brings a lot to the table. I love the fact that they're taking a deeper look at him. Again, it's one of those guys, if we took it 23, it'd just be like, sweet. I would not be upset at all. But like you said, it depends on who's on the board.
It's the board. Yeah. But if it was, a bunch of guys who weren't my top options, they go Jordan Addison. All right, fine. Let's roll with it.
Would you rather have Quentin Johnson, the big 6'3", great size, great speed, or would you rather have the more smooth Jordan Addison?
I want the bigger guy. We haven't had that big target like that in a while. I want to have the big guy.
Obviously, you don't remember Richard Angulo.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I think we got his. That's supposed to get a picture. I think I turned the camera on.
He's probably still haunted by the time we had the one time we had a conversation with Richard Angulo. But let us know in the comments, Jordan Addison. What do you think? It's a sexy ass name. He went to Pitt, ripped it up, went to USC, had a very good receiver or quarterback there as well. Did well, brings a lot to the table. And again, the biggest thing I love about him is he's going to step out on the field week 1 and make an impact.
Yep.
There ain't going to be a learning curve there. Not a big one.
No learning curve will be a guy you're getting instant return on if you draft him at 23, and you're going to have to draft him at 23. He ain't getting anywhere. He ain't getting out around 1. So Vikings top 30 visit with Jordan Addison. Let us know what you think of him in the comments below. And don't forget this. The word nerd was invented by Dr. Seuss.